So, Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury has been announced again for, God, I think it's the third time they've tried to make this fight. But it's gonna supposedly happen next month now. And obviously, Jake Paul just signed to the PFL to do MMA and boxing, so that will be interesting. But at the moment, his next fight seems to be Tommy Fury in February, and it's an interesting matchup. I just wanted to give a breakdown and prediction of it. Now, if you'd asked me, when this fight had been made previous times, I might have predicted Tommy Fury, but I'm actually going to predict that Jake Paul wins this fight via knockout. I think Jake Paul gets the dub in this fight. I do. I think he wins this fight. I have an issue with Tommy, man. Tommy Fury, he's just never ceases to disappoint. Every fight he has, you know what I mean? He'll win them, but he wins them in the most unimpressive fashion ever. He has the most terribly boring fights, and he doesn't perform overly well against bad opponents. You know what I mean? I think Anderson Silva, who Jake fought in his last fight, is a better opponent than Tommy Fury has fought in his last 3 or 4 fights, any of those opponents. Yeah, they've had professional boxing records, but they're all terrible. You know what I mean? Anderson Silva is a better striker, a better boxer than all of those guys. I just think, Tommy just looks disappointing every fight he has. I know he carries the Fury name. I know he's a professional boxer. I know he's undefeated. But he just never ceases to disappoint in his boxing matches. You know what I mean? I think he crowds his punches a lot. You know what I mean? He'll throw punches from way too close a range. And just not connect with them because he's throwing them from way too close. He smothers himself. You know what I mean? He has good boxing fundamentals. He has good footwork. He has good straight punches. He has, good combination punching. He goes to the body well. I think he is a pretty decent boxer in terms of fundamentals, but he has a lot of glaring issues. I think defensively he's very lax. He likes to keep his hands low and try to move his head, but that is not good because he doesn't move his head well. He runs into punches quite a bit. You know what I mean? He's reasonably quick. He has good footwork. I think he has advantages over Jake Paul. I think, he has better footwork. He moves better. I think he goes forward better. He cuts angles. And he has good boxing fundamentals, good straight punches. His hooks are arm punches. You know what I mean? He smothers himself so much. That's the biggest thing for me. He smothers his offense, and that's why he can't finish opponents as of late. Even the tiny step up in opposition from really bad to just bad, he has not been able to finish his opponents because he just smothers his punches. Or he'll just, jab to a victory. And he has pretty good boxing skills, but I just think Jake's opponents have been better, and he's been finishing them or hurting them and dropping them. And I just think he's looked more impressive. I think one of Tommy Fury's biggest weaknesses also plays fantastically into Jake's hands. Tommy Fury gets hit with overhand rights like more than anyone else. He gets hit with so many overhand rights rushing in. That's the punch that he gets hit by the most, I would say. And that's probably Jake's best punch. Jake has pretty good counters. And I can see Jake just slumping Tommy Fury with a big overhand right counter. I just think Tommy Fury has been overrated because of his name and because of, obviously, the fact that he is a pro boxer, so people think he will just destroy Jake Paul. But I really think Jake Paul has improved a lot, and Tommy hasn't really shown that improvement too much. He still makes a lot of mistakes. He hasn't been finishing any opponents lately. You know what I mean? I think Jake's been fighting better people and getting finishes. I think Jake's got a power advantage. I think Jake will be the bigger fighter. Tommy just happens to run into Jake's best punch in almost every one of his fights. He runs into that overhand right. He's very defensively laxed. He slows down, and I think Jake slows down as well. But I think we've seen Jake improve that slowing down, and I just think Jake slumps him. I really think Jake will KO him, and I think it will be maybe not super early, maybe kind of the middle of the fight, maybe round 3. You know what I mean? But I think Jake slumps him. At this point, I'm picking Jake. I know Tommy's been reasonably active, but like I said, just not looking impressive in any of his fights. Looking quite unimpressive in all of his fights. I think Jake probably probably finishes him. Yeah. So that was just a quick breakdown of that fight. I'll probably do a more in-depth breakdown when the fight is a bit closer, but yeah, that's about it. See ya.